Hi students. Now today we'll be continuing our lesson on simultaneous equations. Now in the previous lesson you were given some shapes and try to figure out what the value of each shape is. So for item A you are given for the first line, or what we will call now the first equation, you are given two different shapes. You're given three triangles and a rectangle. And when you add up those values, the values for each, you will get 25. In the second line, the same shapes, but this time the numbers were changed. You were given two triangles and one rectangle. And the sum of those values would be 18. And we use the process of trial and error to figure out what these values, what the shapes would value. So in all the examples, you have two different sets of shape, and the values of each shape remain the same for the question. So in part A, if you're saying that the triangle in the first line measures 7, then the triangle in the second line should also measure 7. The values, of course, will change for each question, but I'm talking for this particular question. The values for each shape should be the same for that question, all right? All right, good. So we figured out that there are so many different possibilities that you could have for the values, but there is only one possibility that allows the sum or the total in the end to be true for both lines. So you remembered we first tried 5 and 15. We first said that the triangle would measure 5, or the value of the triangle would be 5, and the value of the rectangle would be 15. And when we tried to put the values together, we say, okay, this is 5, 10, 15, and this would be, and the rectangle would be 15. It didn't work out, don't? No, it didn't. So it might have worked for the second line, but it did not work for the first line. Now, in the end, we figured out that the triangles measure 7 each and the rectangle measure 4, because when you substituted the values for the shape, you got the total in the end, and the values worked for both equations. We're calling them equations now. So this is what simultaneous equation is all about. You get two different equations, and each equation has two different variables, and you're going to solve to find the value of each variable. So let us put on our thinking caps, let us put on our math brains now. Each shape here, the triangle and the square, would represent a variable. And in math, we know variables are letters, right? So this, if it is that we're going to replace these shapes with variables, we would say 3, let's call it the triangle x and call the square y. We would say 3y plus x is equal to 25, and that's one equation. For the second line, we would say 2x plus y equals 18. And the reason I say 2x is because there are two triangles here. And remember, I said the triangles represent variables, all right? So now in our heads, we've created two equations that we would have to work with at the same time. And we have to figure out what the value for each variable is, just as how we try to figure out what the value of each of these shapes is. All right, and we try to figure out the different possibilities. We use trial and error. All right, and in the end we got the correct answer. So let us move into now And of course, section B and section C, you're supposed to try those on your own. Still, you have not tried it as yet. So let us move on to activity 2. We're moving away now from shapes and we're moving now to actual numbers. And the instruction says that you should read the case and answer the questions that follow. And the case says, you got a talk shop for you and your friends, after COVID that is. And you say 3 banana chips and 2 bag juices cost $300 in total. You go, you take up your banana chips and your bag juice, and you pay for it, $300 to come up to. Somebody else come up behind you. This person you're well hungry. This person is just buying banana chips and bag juice for themselves. 2 banana chips and a bag juice, and that costs $190 in total. Now, we can think of this case as 2 different equations coming together. And what do I mean? Let me explain even further. Before we move on to creating equations, we're going to think about this in layman terms. So if you go to the talk shop and you buy 3 banana chips and 2 bag juice, it's $300, and somebody else come and buy 2 banana chips and 1 bag juice and it costs $190. How much one of the banana chips and one of the bag juice cost? Now, table 1 asks you to write out all the possibilities that you think. You're going to use guesswork. So in this table, I gave you an example. I just tried to use some guesswork and say, oh, maybe one banana chips costs 20 and 1 bag juice. Sorry, 1 bag juice costs 20 and 1 banana chips costs 30. Right? But it has to be an educated guess. You have to try to reason it and figure it out so that at the end of the day, the value that you choose, when it maths it up, it actually results in the total. So after you write down your possible values, part 2 is saying that we should check your possibilities to ensure that they give the same total as provided in the case. What do I mean by that? If 1 bag juice costs $20, right? Based on the case here, if 1 bag juice costs $20 here, that means 2 bag juices would cost what? $40. And if 1 banana chips costs $30, that means that 3 banana chips would cost what? $90. 3 times 30, $90. And if I add the $90 and the $40 together, I should get $300 if my guesswork was true. If it is that I did an educated guess, right? But whenever I added my totals, whenever I added my 40 and my 90, I did not get 300. So this is what part 2 is asking you for. You are to check the possibilities to ensure that they give the same total. So here I did my checking. I did say that the banana chips cost $30 and the bag juice cost $20. And based on the purchase, purchase one, 3 banana chips and 2 bag juice, if I multiplied the unit price, that is the cost for one, by the amount, which is 3, and add that to the unit price times amount for the bag juice, I should get 300. But I did not get 300, and I did not get to 190 for the second purchase. So what you students are to do, you are to work on your guesses just as how you did it in the picture puzzle above. You're going to, after you write out your possibilities, you're going to try to guess not just guess, but give an educated guess which one of the answers are correct. So you're going to use trial and error. And I want to see the person who really figured out what's the cost for one of the banana chips and one of the bag juice. All right. And then the third item is asking us to write an equation to represent, sorry for moving so fast, write an equation to represent the purchases above. So I said, the question said, use C to represent banana chips and B to represent bag juice. And we're going to write an equation to represent the purchase above. So then, here, banana chips, we're going to use C, so it's going to be 3C, and converted in math language is plus 2B, because B is going to represent bag juice, and the total, we're going to use an equal sign and write 300. Now, you must be wondering, why is it that Miss Hamilton is not writing on the screen? I would really love for you to do it on your own. 3C plus 2B is equal to 300. All right. And for the second equation, we're going to write 2C plus 1B, which is just the same thing as B. 1B is the same thing as B. 1 apple is the same thing as an apple. 1 iPhone is the same thing as an iPhone. 1 P, 1 W is the same thing as P and W, right? That's 300 up here. And that's equal to 190. And that is all that question was asking you to do. So here we have a simultaneous, a pair of equations called simultaneous equations. And that's all this activity is asking you for. All right, students, that is all. Now, I hope that it is clearer, much clearer. If you were in class, you would have understood what we did for this, the picture puzzle. I cannot go through it due to the time and the size of this video already. So I do hope it's much clearer for you. All right. Have yourselves a good day.